"I quit my job today," were the first words my wife said when she got home. I nearly dropped the cup I was washing. What? My wife was standing at the doorway holding her briefcase and looking down sadly. "I never really thought I suited the job. My bosses aren't nice either." It's true that she'd been forced to work overtime often. Just looking at her, I could see how exhausted she was. But I opened my mouth to say something, but then I realized she probably worried I would oppose her decision. That's probably why she didn't tell me about this until now. She's already quit. Nothing I can say can change that. "Oh well, there are many other companies out there." I hugged her. "I'm sorry, Seymour. I will do my best to find a new job soon." I wanted to show her that I'm on her side. "My name is Seymour. I'm 31 years old. I'm a businessman at an average company. My parents both passed away when I was young. My grandparents who raised me also passed away shortly before I got married, so my only remaining family are my wife and in-laws, who live near us. I married my wife Carly, who was the same age as me, 3 years ago. We don't have kids, but we were a happy couple. At least we were until Carly quit her job. It's been about 1 year since she quit. Apart from my main job, I started doing side jobs like data entry gigs. I really worked hard. My wife has been looking for a new job, but hasn't had any success so far. I suggested she try working part-time while she looks for a job. But if I get too busy with the part-time job, it might negatively affect my job hunt, is all she'd say. I worked full-time, but my salary wasn't very high. Thanks to my wife's unemployment money and a little savings we've gotten by so far. But I'm worried. I had another big concern: housework. In the past, we helped each other with chores around the house. But after she quit her job, my wife began helping out less and less. I understand that she's out job hunting most days, but she has days that she spends at home. Honestly, I thought she should do more around the house, but she kept saying she had to focus on the job hunt. She would let dirty dishes pile up in the sink without even rinsing them, and she would leave dirty laundry to stack up until I had no choice but to wash them after I got home from work. Well, sometimes the dishes and laundry pile up. That's fine. I would do what I can. But even when she used to work overtime almost every night, she helped out more than she does now. Things weren't perfect, to say the least. "Hey, Carly, can you help out with the housework at least on the days that you're free? At least a little bit with laundry and dishes?" I mustered up the courage to ask her, but she shut me down immediately. "I'm busy looking through job listings every day. I'm trying my best, so don't say that." I could do nothing but shrug. There's no point in reacting emotionally to someone who's already emotional, but I was out of energy. "I'm also exhausted. Even just a little help would be great. Please." I tried to ask her so softly and politely as possible, but Carly let out an exaggerated sigh. "Are you trying to say that I should do it because you're the breadwinner?" How condescending. Whatever. I'm going to sleep. Carly walked to our bedroom. At that moment, I started to smell something I hadn't before. The smell of soap? I said that out loud without realizing. Carly froze with her hand on the door to our bedroom. "You went job hunting today, right?" My wife nodded, still facing the door. "I went to a spa on the way home. If I don't relax every once in a while, there's no way I'll be successful, you know?" She quickly entered the bedroom and closed the door behind her. The salon, huh? Another night she came home late, smelling of alcohol. She also said she did that as a stress relief. As I was cleaning a mess she had made, a scary thought came to my mind. Could she be having an affair? Could she be pretending to job hunt but instead going out with a man? I shook my head. No, I'm just coming up with things because I'm frustrated with her. What's wrong with going to the spa sometimes? But I froze. I wondered how my in-laws would treat their daughter in this situation. I thought about them. My father-in-law still worked at a company, while my mother-in-law juggled housework and working at a farm. If they helped, no, there's no way. I shook my head again. According to my wife, her parents supported her quitting. Remembering that made me upset at my in-laws. I didn't think they would help me. "You don't have parents, so you've never been taught this sort of stuff, so don't get involved." I still remember my shock when Carly said that to me. In the past, my in-laws have always treated me very well. But recently my wife mentioned that her parents don't like me, so I've been keeping my distance. Even if we were close, it's probably best not to drag my in-laws into arguments my wife and I are having. I just need to get myself together. Deep in thought, I started doing the laundry. One morning, a few days later, I was on my way to work as usual. I was crossing a pedestrian bridge near my work. My legs feel shaky. I must be tired. I felt under the weather, and on top of that, it was raining. I wasn't in a great mood. By the time I noticed, it was too late. I slipped and the whole world spun in front of my eyes. I heard a loud noise, and pain jolted through my body. I felt a sharp pain in my left ankle, and I lost consciousness. The next time I opened my eyes, I was laying on a hospital bed. According to the doctor, I had slipped and fallen down the stairs of the pedestrian bridge. My whole body was bruised. I had completely broken my left ankle, and so on. In the best-case scenario, I would have to stay in the hospital at least a month. The surgery on your ankle was a success. You unconsciously protected your head with your arms as you fell, so luckily you only have a few scratches on your face. The doctor said I should consider myself very lucky, and left my room. Shortly after, my wife came to visit. Your company called me. I was so shocked. It seems that one of my colleagues discovered me passed out on the ground near the bridge and had called an ambulance. My wife brought me a change of clothes and my phone charger. This will be enough, right? Honestly, she didn't bring enough clothes, and it would have been helpful if she brought me a towel and some toiletries. But I'm sure she must have been in such a rush she didn't have time to think. I was grateful she brought anything at all. Thank you. If I need something else, she'll bring it, right? Yeah. By the way, while you're not at home, my mom will come by and help with the housework here and there. So don't worry. This surprised me. Your mom? Then I should call her to thank her. Carly quickly stood up. You don't have to. My mom doesn't like you anyway. The atmosphere in my hospital room grew very uncomfortable, so I could do nothing but nod quietly. 3 weeks passed and my wife never came to visit. I sent her messages asking her to bring me things, but she ignored them all. If she ever replied, it would just be to say I was asleep, or excuses like, I'm busy now, so I can't. I wasn't healing as quickly as I hoped, so I had to extend my stay in the hospital. When I texted her about that, all she said was, okay. My bosses showed up way more often than her. We're so glad to see you're doing okay. Don't worry about work and rest, is what they would say when they'd visited. I had to buy things I needed, and had to pay the hospital cleaning service to do my laundry. I ended up having to spend more money than I could afford. I wanted to call my wife, but I shared my hospital room with other patients who wanted the room to be very quiet. If I wanted to go to a lobby or somewhere else where I could talk, I would have to ask a nurse to take me out with a wheelchair, so it was inconvenient. That's right, I should thank my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's face came to mind. Though my wife said I didn't have to, I thought it was for the best. I felt embarrassed that I had forgotten to call until now. I asked the nurse to take me out of my room, and I called my mother-in-law. Seymour, it's been a while. My mother-in-law answered the call with a bright and happy voice, but I was so nervous that my voice trembled. It's been a long time. I heard that since I've been hospitalized, you've been helping Carly out with the housework. I'm really sorry for causing you this trouble. Actually, my hospital stay was extended. After my apology, my mother-in-law was silent. I began sweating because I was worried she was angry at me. What are you talking about? I'm not helping Carly with anything. Huh? She had no reason to lie. I explained to my mother-in-law about my accident and surgery and that I was hospitalized. What? You're in the hospital? Why haven't you told me earlier? I'll be there soon. She suddenly hung up the phone and I was left stunned. Huh? This isn't what I expected. She should hate talking to me. 2 hours later, my mother-in-law entered the hospital room. She had gone out of her way to buy me clothes, towels, and water bottles. She looked at me and flinched. That looks painful. Are you okay? I will start coming to visit you every day, so please tell me anything you need, all right? It had been a while since we last met in person, but she was treating me as kindly as if I were her real son. I thanked my mother-in-law, and then told her how Carly hadn't visited me since my first day in the hospital, and about how Carly mentioned she would help out at the house. Why would Carly lie like that? I never heard anything about you being hospitalized. You must have been so lonely without anyone visiting you. I'm so sorry. My mother-in-law gently rubbed my back, and without realizing I began to cry. I'm sorry, I thought you hated me. What? Of course not. I worried you hated me. It seems we both misunderstood each other and had felt uncomfortable until now. We candidly spoke about what had happened, and we quickly understood that Carly had tricked both of us. On top of that, my mother-in-law didn't know that Carly had quit her job. All that girl does is tell lies. My mother-in-law looked incredibly disappointed, and she let out a deep sigh. It seems that ever since my wife was a child, she would lie in order to cover up her own bad deeds. She was worried that her parents would be on my side, so she had planned to pit us against each other. That's why Carly made us think that we hated each other. Both my mother-in-law and I agreed that Carly was acting very suspiciously. Carly had done other things to make me wonder if she's having an affair. Can I ask you a favor? I whispered something to my mother-in-law. I will ask my husband to help and we'll see what we can do. She replied with a nod. 2 months after I was hospitalized, I was finally discharged. Why didn't you ever come to visit me? I saw your text. That's why I'm here to pick you up. I've been busy, but listen, I got a new job and it's at an amazing company. My wife came to the hospital to pick me up, and she spoke about how hard searching for a job had been during the whole taxi ride home. Well, I guess we have to celebrate. When I said that, Carly's face lit up. That's right, we'll celebrate you getting discharged as well, returning to our home for the first time in months. Carly took off her shoes and entered the living room without me. I sighed and struggled slowly to take off the shoes of my own. I entered the living room and saw my wife standing there frozen in place. What's this? She was looking at the table, on top of which were divorce papers. My part was already filled out, and my in-laws had signed as the witnesses. What do you mean by this? Carly shoved the divorce papers in my face. I waved her hands away and laughed. What do you mean? Let's celebrate my recovery with a bang! As I said this, the door to the living room opened. My in-laws and a man Carly didn't know entered the room and surrounded her. Why are my parents here? And who is this man? That's my lawyer. Your father introduced him to me, and I asked him to come here today. The lawyer greeted Carly and handed her his business card. I looked at my wife, whose jaw had dropped, and laughed. After reconnecting with my mother-in-law, I asked her for a few favors. The first was to set up security cameras in our living room and bedroom. My father-in-law helped with that. The second favor was, if we discovered my wife was cheating, to introduce me to a lawyer and serve as our witnesses for our divorce. The camera recorded all the evidence we needed. When my lawyer said this, Carly's shoulders began trembling intensely. They thought it was best for me not to see the recordings, so my in-laws never showed me what the cameras had filmed. But when my mother-in-law visited me at the hospital and whispered to me, "We have evidence," I understood everything. Those recordings must have been hard for Carly's parents to watch. While your husband was in the hospital, a man stayed over at your home many times. You can't talk your way out of this. That's an invasion of privacy. Carly tried to bite back after hearing what my lawyer had to say. You idiot! You should first apologize to Seymour. My father-in-law slapped Carly across the face. She fell to the floor and held her cheek while looking away from us. We're renting this house under my name. All I did was install security cameras in case someone tried to break in. How dare you treat my home like it's some sort of hotel? You're disgusting. I'm not sure it was because of the pain of the slap or because of her shame, but Carly began to cry. She got on her knees in front of me and began to tell me about her lover. He was the son of the CEO of the company she was going to begin working at. When she went to their office for an interview, he had hit on her. Initially, she quit her job because she genuinely hated it and was serious about finding a new job, but once she met her lover, she got distracted, and she fell in love. When I was hospitalized, he stayed over at our house whenever he wanted. Most recently, her lover said to her, "If you break up with your husband, I will pull some strings and get you a great job." Seymour, I just dated him so I could get a new job. Please believe me, don't divorce me. Seeing her face covered in tears and snot, I could help but laugh. You say that even though you have to divorce me and marry that guy to get a job there? When I pointed out the contradictions of what Carly was saying, she went silent. For that woman, The reason I did my best when it came to my job and housework was because I believed I had a future with her. Carly, we are cutting off ties with you. The money we're supposed to leave you in our will, your father and I will use to enjoy our lives. We will use all our money to move into a nice senior home. Hearing that from her mother, Carly went pale. It seemed she had nothing more to say. My father-in-law nodded along with what his wife had said. I turned and looked down at my wife. You sure had fun while I was away these last 2 months. I hope you now have fun in hell. Bye. I put all my emotions into those final words. Carly looked at us and curled into a ball and sobbed. A few days later, our divorce was officialized, and with the help of my lawyer, I requested alimony from my wife's lover. I'm incredibly sorry for what my son has done. I will make sure he pays you back for this, promised my wife's lover's father. Instead of firing them, Carly's lover's father moved them into a different office, where the work was very intense. Stuck with laborious work and paying off the alimony, they're struggling every day. My body completely healed, and to thank my ex-in-laws, I gave them a voucher for a trip to a spa hotel. After they continuously asked me to, I ended up joining them. My ex-in-laws looked incredibly happy in the photos we took of the three of us during our trip. You're still young. I hope you can be happy now. When my ex-mother-in-law said that to me during our trip, I felt my eyes tear up. They are no longer my family, but their wish is for me to be happy. I will make sure to make that wish come true and will do my very best to live a happy life.